Let's begin with the boldest take. That is, Paul Skenes wins 25 games this season. No one has won 25 or more games since Bob Welch in 1990, but I think Skenes has the stuff to do it. The problem is the team around him sucks and won't do him any favors. The Pirates were 24th in runs scored last year, and the bullpen is weaker for 2025 compared to the bottom feeders that they were last season. But getting back to Skenes, I wanted to compare him to a 25-game winner numerically, but good data isn't available that far back, so I took the best record year any pitcher has had since 2015. Skenes' 2024 season is on the left, compared to Jake Arrieta's 2015 season with the Cubs on the right, where he went 22-6 with a 1.77 ERA. As you can see, the run values are similar except on breaking balls, where Arrieta has a clear advantage. Remember, run value is supposed to be a metric that determines how much that, in this case, a pitch, affects the run output of the game. This is important since the metrics are saying Skenes' non-fastballs, although good, are not as good as Arrieta's, and therefore he may be more reliant on one single pitch, i.e. the fastball, to get him out of trouble. Hitters might adjust to this, and it could lead to less escape jams for Skenes in 2025. Many of the other metrics are similar, including expected ERA, expected batting average, average exit velocity, and chase rate. Skenes has a better K rate, but somewhat significantly worse in barrels and hard hit percentage. Overall, when I look at this, Skenes could still improve, but numerically, Arrieta had a better year and played for a better team and still won under 25 games. So Skenes winning 25 will be next to impossible, especially with only 33 starts in a 5-man rotation. Next, I have the bold prediction that the White Sox will not lose 100 games this season. In looking at the roster, there's nothing here that makes this bold take even remotely possible. Luis Robert has talent, but he will be out the door soon. Drury as a cleanup hitter, Travis Jankowski getting thrown in the starting lineup, and Martin Perez is the ace? All of this looks like a disaster in the making, and I haven't even mentioned what will undoubtedly be the worst bullpen in baseball. So I will attempt to make the case that they lose 100 games with the only way possible, and that is some standout pitching from the minors gets to the big leagues in the last few months of the season. This would include Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith. Schultz got to Double-A last year and put up a 1.48 ERA in 61 innings with 73 strikeouts. Smith was drafted in 2024, so his minor league career only consists of 7 innings, but he is a fastball slider pitcher that set the NCAA record with 17.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. There is a precedent with the White Sox to call up pitchers quickly, as Chris Sale debuted just months after being drafted in 2010, and Alex Fernandez did the same back in 1990. I'm not sure why the White Sox would rush either Schultz or Smith, but if it happens, they could ignite a solid month or 2 months of the year and potentially avoid 100 losses. How about a crazy scenario where the Dodgers have 3 20-game winners? I originally wanted to go with 4 20-game winners, but Ohtani will only make 15 to 20 starts as a guess, and they probably will utilize a 6-man rotation at some point in the year. The 6-man rotation itself might be enough to shoot this bold prediction to shit, but I'll stick with it because it's still remotely possible. Just very remotely possible. The 3 with the best chance at it are Yamamoto, Snell, and Sasaki, as Glasnow is too often injured and Bobby Miller doesn't have 20-game winner stuff unless a big step occurs. I expect a Cy Young caliber year from Yamamoto, as I mentioned in my awards prediction video, and Snell has already won 2 of them, so both should be able to at least sniff 20 wins. That leaves Sasaki, which is a stretch to say he will win 20 games as a rookie who has never thrown a major league inning, but the stuff appears to be there with the upper 90s fastball and the crazy good splitter. If the Dodgers hit as well as they should, and there are no pitching injuries to the starters or the bullpen, then they will definitely win a ton of games, which will trickle down to the starters. I know many of you are tired of hearing about the Dodgers, but I have another hot take involving them. I also have another hot take later in this video, so if needed, swear at your phone now to get prepared for it. I believe the Dodgers have a chance at scoring 1,000 runs this year. This was last recently done by the Cleveland Indians when they scored 1,009 runs in 1999. The all-time record for runs scored in a season by a team is the Boston Bean Eaters with 1,220 in 1894. In fact, the top 3 team run scoring seasons all happened in 1894, with most teams only playing 132 games. The Dodgers can get to the magical 1,000 run plateau due to the balance of their lineup. Obviously, the first 3 are superstars, but following them with Teoscar Hernandez and Will Smith will punish those who try to pitch around anyone at the top. Max Muncy is a boom or bust hitter most of the time, but he will still put up north of 30 home runs, assuming he gets 550 plate appearances. I expect a big year from Conforto in this lineup after getting away from Oracle Park in San Francisco. Tommy Edman should contribute somewhat, but for an eighth hitter, he is no slouch. It's always a stretch saying a team will score 1,000 runs, but I don't see where opposing pitchers will be able to attack this lineup. Next, I have Lindor scoring 162 runs. No one has scored 162 or more in a season that was not named Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig since the 1800s. The most in recent history was Jeff Bagwell in 2000 when he scored 152. Ronald Acuna Jr. did score 149 in 2023, so this is not a crazy number that has never been seen in recent times. The all-time record, for those who are wondering, was 198 scored by Billy Hamilton. No, not that Billy Hamilton, since this was done all the way back in 1894. I think this is attainable for Lindor, as yes, he will have to up his on-base percentage from last year of .344, but when he does get on, he has RBI machines behind him in Soto and Alonso. Lindor should chase less this year and therefore strike out less due to opposing pitchers knowing if they walk him, especially when he is leading off the game or an inning, that trouble will follow. So pitchers will have to take some chances and throw the ball in the strike zone. All of this should make Lindor an even better hitter this year with an increased on-base percentage and more home runs. So yes, he might score close to 40 runs just on his own. This bold prediction will be a fun one to track as the season progresses if he and the Mets get off to a hot start. Staying with the Mets, they missed the playoffs. And looking at their roster, you can see they have a problem with starting pitching. You can't rely on Minaya and Senga to be the 1 and 2, and Minaya is already out with a lat strain, which usually involves a long recovery. You would hope you get the 2023 version of Senga and not the 2024 version, but that's no guarantee. Obviously, the lineup is stacked at the top, and the back end bullpen is strong with the addition of AJ Minter. I'm still not sure this makes up for the starters, though, especially considering the competition. The Braves and Phillies both look like top 5 teams in all of baseball, meaning the Mets are staring at a third-place finish. The Dodgers look very set in the West, with the Diamondbacks being another team legitimately vying for a top 5 ranking in all of baseball. That leaves one open playoff spot in a crowded National League, and who's to say 2 of the Reds, Brewers, or Cubs will overperform their expectations? The Mets have to be careful here, as they have 26 games against the Braves and Phillies, where the 3 Central teams will have their 26 toughest divisional games against each other. But of course, none of those teams are on par with the Braves or the Phillies. With a tougher schedule than their competitors fighting for the 6th spot, the Mets could easily be the odd man out. Next is the last Dodgers hot take, I promise. And it's that they set the all-time win record with 117. This team is stacked top to bottom with the best lineup in baseball, the best bullpen in baseball, and when Ohtani returns as a starting pitcher, possibly in May, they will have the best rotation in baseball as well. There is literally nothing from a talent perspective that you can nitpick this team. The rotation is filled with number ones and is also deep with Gonsolin and Miller as potential fill-in starters for when Glasnow gets injured. The bullpen has 3 guys that are top-notch closers and so many good setup men that they had to trade Ryan Brazier just to make room for everyone. The lineup is deadly at the top, but the bottom of the lineup will produce as well. I feel Michael Conforto will have a renaissance year and flirt with 30 home runs and could drive in 90 or so from the 7th spot. All in all, there's too much talent on this team and depth for them not to win at least 100 games. If they get off to any kind of hot start, 117 wins is attainable, especially since we all know this team probably is not done adding and will buy something at the trade deadline. Next, I have the Padres with a fire sale. But this prediction has become less and less bold as the season nears, since I think many realize just how bad this team is in terms of financial flexibility and that they are most likely the 3rd best team in the division. So let me up the ante here and say that at least one of Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., or Xander Bogaerts is not on the team come August. Of these, I see Machado and Tatis as the most likely to go. Tatis is still young at only 26 and showed flashes last year of his breakout 2021 season. The Padres could get a haul for him at this point and maybe not even have to eat any of the contract. Machado would be a completely different story, though, as he is starting to enter his declining years at age 32, and any team willing to take him on is on the hook for 9 more years at north of $300 million. The Padres would have to eat a huge portion of that, but might be willing to do so just to save some money. This is in all likelihood a team on the outside fringe when it comes to the playoffs, and a bad first half, or even a so-so first half, is the recipe for a complete overhaul for a team that spent too much, too quickly, and will now have to pay the fare.